because I think he's a Pennsylvania.
All right, that took a few tries, but we are live. How you doing, everybody? Pass the mic. Mike Passamonte here. My co-host, Carl Graham. Say hi, Carl.
What's going on, everyone?
And JP from Hypothetical Sports. What's up, JP?
I'm feeling like I'm off my rocker today.
Yeah, you look like you're on your rocker. This is the weekly sports talk show. We recap the NFL season week by week. We're done with week 5 now, right? Week 6. Week 6. We're done with. I know I'm losing count. It's just over for my team.
Football season.
And that's where
fast, man.
That's where I want to start.
Fast.
What's that?
Can I just say I told you so?
Goes by fast. I mean,
no, you can't say I told you so.
To Carl, because
I
said the Broncos are going to be a competitive team. Even when he's crying, they're done.
I don't know about that.
They just beat New England.
I don't know about that yet.
They just beat New England.
I'm not convinced. New England's 2-3. We're gonna go crazy over New England now.
They played great against Seattle.
Seattle's no defense, but let's start. Focus. Let's not go everywhere. We got to start with the worst team in football, the only winless team in football. How does Adam Gase still have a job? Somebody tell me how Adam Gase still has a
job. He's got something on the owner.
Are you ready for this? Yeah, I'm going to pull it up right now, and I'm going to read it. You go plus minus this year, right? Plus minus, of course, you would guess, and you'd be right, the Jets are the worst team in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Okay. The Jets have a minus 110. Plus minus of 110. So they've given up 110 more points than they've scored. The next two teams have given up 56 points and 54 points more than they've scored, which means that the two worst teams besides them in the NFL, plus minus, combined are equal to what the Jets are. They're getting absolutely blown out every single game. Every game. It's not even close. Like, it's not even like, some of these teams, a lot of these teams that are bad are competitive. The Giants have been competitive in a lot of their games. They came close against Chicago. They came close against Dallas. They won one game. They've been terrible, but they've come in close to being competitive. Washington won one game. They came close against the Giants. Jets the closest game they've had is 9 points versus Denver. Yeah. Adam Gase, you ready? Adam Gase is 30-41, I think, right now as a head coach.
That good?
30 wins. 30 wins he has as a head coach. 32 of his losses are by double digits, which means he has lost more times in the NFL by double digits than he's won a game. He has to be the worst NFL coach there has ever been. He has to be. And I looked online to see if there's like a list of worst NFL head coaches ever, and Rich Kotite was number 2 ever. And he was bad.
Number 1.
He wasn't this bad. Rob Marinelli, who was terrible. Rob Marinelli was terrible.
You think Gase is worse?
Gase is the worst I've ever seen at any level. We coached Pee Wee ball. I didn't see coaches this bad. Like, he has absolutely zero clue. No clue. You could see going into the game, there's no preparation because they're down 21-0 every single game. Like, every game they're down 21-0. Besides the Broncos game where Sam Darnold ran a 43-yard touchdown to give him a first half score. They don't score against anybody in the first half. They don't score in the second half either, but they come out flat. They get totally dominated. And then they end up getting killed. They don't even get garbage time touchdowns. Like, he doesn't have his coaches on his side. The team is completely unprepared. His offense looks like I would be running it.
I think he'd do a better job.
I would be. He goes into the game the other day, right? And you have the play-by-play guy and the color guy. They always talk to the coaches before the game, and they tell them what the game plan is. And they say, yeah, he's going to try to go up over the top today. Like, he's going to try to throw it deep. So you would think, like, you set it up, you set up a couple runs, you set up a couple. So the first series of the game, he just had Flacco 3-step drop and hurl it to Perryman. It was not even close. It was not even like it was no innovation. There was nothing inventive about it. He runs the ball, throws it deep, or throws a screen pass. That's it. That's it. And how this guy's not fired, I don't understand. Like, what do you have to see to fire him? Now, I don't want him to get fired. I don't. Because I want to go, and I never do this. Never. I'm always like, when Bowles was there, when anyone was there, Mangini, I always said, like, at the end, when they were really struggling and really terrible, I still said, try to win as many games as you can. No, not here. This is blow it up. Blow this whole thing up. They have the most money under the cap coming up. They have draft picks for the next 3 years. You could build a team. You could build a team in 2 years.
Yeah.
You could build a team. If they get here's what I'll say. And let's not forget, I'm watching this week, and I just picked up fantasy. I lost my quarterback in one league. It was Prescott. Lost him. I decided to pick up Tannehill. Tannehill is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He really is. And if you go down the list of players, Robbie Anderson, Jay Ajayi, the players that had Kenyon Drake that have sucked for Adam Gase, and then immediately after they go somewhere else, they explode, and they're great players. Nobody offensively has career years with Adam Gase. Nobody. And then they go somewhere else, and they're just amazing. Now, not that everybody's going to be amazing, but watch Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is going to explode.
I'm going to agree with you on that.
With 100%. The Chiefs. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, and I know you've both been saying this, and here's what I love about both of you. You both of you have every single move figured out in the offseason because you both know exactly what players are thinking, coaches are thinking, and GMs are thinking. Oh, he's not going there. He doesn't like it. Oh, he's not going to go there. That's not his type of player. Oh, the Jets aren't going to do that. They're going to do that. Like, both of you. So I want the geniuses right now to talk and tell me, because this came out this week, and one of you probably wrote it, and no, you know what it was? It was Roddy White saying he's telling Trevor Lawrence that if the Jets get the number 1 pick, to stay an extra year. How dumb is that?
Not really.
Tell me if you agree with that.
Here's what I'm going to say to you. There's a caveat to that. If Adam Gase is still the coach, yes.
If he's the coach, I'll never watch football again.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. That's ridiculous. JP. I told you to save the ridiculous stuff to the end.
Because here's why I'm saying this. It's fit that matters. Look, Baker Mayfield may be a bust. I think now you got to start talking Baker Mayfield's a bust because of the fit. You realize maybe after 3 coaches and it's him. It ain't you. It's not them. It's you. And it's a whole fit thing. Look what he has around him right now. Like, here's what I'm saying to you. It's the idea of a number 1 pick. When you're the number 1 pick, it's all about fit. And that's the thing. He's got to use whatever. I agree with what a couple people said today while watching. I was listening a little bit while I was working on some stuff. And I agree with this. I forget who said it was on the herd today. You got to use whatever – it was Joe Klatt. You got to use whatever leverage you have as the number 1 pick. And here's the thing. I think the Jets will have a new coach. I think if you're Lawrence, you go to the Jets unless they make themselves look like the village idiot of football. And even then you go to the Jets, and then you try to play through the instability. Because Peyton Manning, like Andrew Luck was able to come out and be so good at first because he had a great system around him. A guy like Trevor Lawrence will help the Jets, but they got to get a coach. It's all going to matter by who they get as head coach. I think Lawrence will help, but if they don't get the coach right, I think it's a whole nother Darnold situation here. That's why I'm saying it's fit that matters.
Well,
I quote Joe
all right.
Clay.
Adam Gase will be there. Adam Gase will not be there. Adam Gase will not be there. Adam Gase isn't going to be there on Thanksgiving. Like, there's no way he could be there. It can't be. So I agree with that. If Gase is there, I wouldn't go. I won't go to the stadium. Like, I would never go if I was Lawrence. But as far as sitting out, Carl, let's have Trevor Lawrence call Tua and ask him if it's a great idea to come back and risk injury in another college season rather than come to the NFL.
It's not even that.
True.
It's
That
not
true.
even that. For what you think of him, he's on the top of his game. Okay? He's a football. He's a good guy, and he is not sitting out another. This is it. This is his final year. He can pull an Eli Manning, and he could try that, but he will not sit out no matter what it is. This is it. He already said this is going to be.
Did you say he'll pull a John Elway?
Well, John Elway really did it in. Eli Manning said, I'm not going to the team. You could draft me. I'm not playing. John Elway said, I quit. I'm going to baseball. Eli just told him, look, you could draft me all you want. I'm not holding a jersey, and I'm not playing for your team. And they had a trade. So he could do that. I don't even think he'll do that. I think he will go to a first pick overall, whoever it is. Most likely it's the Jets, I would say. And he'll go play. It's the coaching. JP, you're right. It's the coaching around him. And Mike, you said it. With all the draft picks and all that money, I'm sure they're going to give him some help. And it's going to be all right in the Jet.
Let's not forget, very, very rarely does it happen where a good team is up top drafting you. It's always a disaster. It's always a disaster of a franchise that has the number one pick that's going to draft you.
Usually.
Yeah, usually. You have a situation with the Colts. Everyone got hurt and they got the number one pick. That happens. But usually it's a terrible, terrible team that gets the number one pick. How many times have the Browns had the number one pick and drafted a quarterback?
Right.
What,
Good
5?
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's got to be 5 or 6 that they've had.
But here's why I'm saying this to you about the fit. It's, I'm going to throw a name out there. And I you know what? I've come around to this because if the Jets could get him, I think they have to. It was Bieniemy. I've come around to the thought of Bieniemy being the Jets coach for one reason.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And if you think about it, you get Bieniemy. Trevor Lawrence is a pretty close to Mahomes as you could get. Tall, could run, good arm, smart. Just a ready player right away. And not many people thought that of Mahomes coming out of college, but obviously he is. And, Trevor Lawrence is everything you could think of coming out of college. Everything. He's won everything. He hasn't won the Heisman yet. It's probably going to be this year. But, he's won a national championship as a freshman. He's ready. He is absolutely ready.
They said he's the first quarterback that's all around ready since Andrew Luck.
I think
he's the
he'll
first full quarterback
Yeah.
that is ready for what, like Andrew Luck. And we all know, we all have to agree, Andrew Luck came out of college ready for the NFL style, and he proved his point no matter what happened.
Right away. Yeah, right away he was good. He
was a great quarterback. And they're comparing him to him.
And it's interesting that I know what you're saying with Andrew Luck here. I think Trevor Lawrence, as crazy as it sounds, could turn, if it's Atlanta, if it's the Jets, it's whoever gets him, probably the Jets. I think he could turn them into a competitive team year one. I think him by himself could add 3 or 4 wins to a team automatically. Automatically.
Well,
the team's not bad.
You know how hard it is to get 4 wins in the NFL? Like when you look at analytics, there's only 5 or 6 players in the league, in history of the league, that are 4-win players. And you automatically can give 4 wins to on the year. Every year you add 4 wins to that team with them. Lawrence is getting 4 wins.
All right.
I think
First of all,
there are 4 or 5.
Both of those statements are unprovable. There's no way you can prove that he's the reason they win 4 games.
Right.
And then in a year that there's going to be different players and a different coach. You could also not say that about any other player. Of course, there's players that are 4 wins either way. You don't think that right now Dak Prescott goes down and it's a difference of 4 games. What if Peyton Manning went down? Peyton Manning went down, and all of a sudden the Colts suck. That happens where a quarterback goes down and the team all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't think Prescott's 4 wins though. I think.
But you're saying you don't think it's not. You know, you can't quantify what you're saying. But are they better with Trevor Lawrence? Of course. And coming back next year, you're going to have a different coach. You're going to have a lot more free agents. You're going to have Mosley maybe coming back, maybe not, but you're going to replace them anyway. You know, you're going to replace a lot of these players in the draft with your picks, and you're going to sign players. And believe me, having a new head coach coming in and having that number 1 pick coming in, free agents are going to come to you.
Right.
They're not going to run away. Let's not say they're not going to run away. So it's going to be a different team. So just because he comes next year and all of a sudden they win 5-6 games,
I think the coach is going to.
That doesn't mean it's because of him. That doesn't mean it's because of him. He's just part of it. Absolutely.
Right.
I think the coach will decide the Jets' future. I think this is the most important coaching hire since I think Parcells for them. They got to make the
hire. Hold on. Every coaching hire is most important.
Can I tell you why I think this is the biggest since Parcells? Because this is the chance for the Jets they've been waiting. I think this is the chance the Jets have been waiting for since Namath. You can get the guy. You can have the guy. Finally.
You're right, but you're wrong. That's got nothing to do with the coach. The most important thing is the draft pick, not the coach.
Oh, I think the coach here. I think it's the coach for one reason. Because you know you're getting Lawrence. It's the question of, are you going to be able – is it going to be a situation where you get everything out of him with the right – that's the coach is going to matter because you don't want to waste those first few years. Look at Elway.
Look at Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, I think Darnold is – I hate to say this. I think you should play Flacco the rest of the year.
Oh,
yeah, because he looked great. Yeah.
Not because he looks great. No.
Flacco looks terrific.
No, because you want to get the number 1 pick.
Flacco's Darnold without any legs.
You know,
like he can't move.
You know,
because you want the number 1 pick.
You're talking about the number 1 pick in the Jets. I really think Washington Redskins are worse. I think that whole system over there is so bad. I mean,
they're going to win another game.
They went for 2-point conversion to win the game.
Carl, you're a little low. You're a little low.
I
can't really hear you.
Who, me?
Yeah, there you go. A little better. Eat the microphone.
Yeah, I said, Washington Redskins, I think, is a worse team than the Jets. I mean, I don't even think they really care or try.
Wait, you think the Redskins are a worse team than the Jets?
Yeah.
You're not watching the Jets.
All around.
You're not watching the Jets.
I don't know what Jets team you're watching.
Carl,
football is insulted by the Jets.
The Jets do absolutely nothing right. Nothing right. Last week they're down 14-0, I think, at the time. They get the kickoff. They fumble it at the 1-yard line, and they get it at the 9.
I watched it.
They do nothing.
I see Flacco in first and 10 on the 20-yard line, and 2 plays later he was on the other side of the field. He got sacked. It was.
Listen, I was playing a guy in fantasy that had Miami's defense, and the difference between 3 points and 0 points is like 10 fantasy points. The Jets kept getting in the second half to the 30-yard line, and Flacco would he took a 29-yard sack.
I understand.
I don't even see that in high school. Okay, I don't even see that in high school against the Cowboys.
If you looked at it, you would have thought that they snapped the ball over his head and he had to run for it. He just kept running backwards.
I know.
Until
and you know what? You look at it. I watched that game. I watched the Washington game with the Giants because that's the only 2 games that are here. They don't even show Philly no more here. I don't know what's the reason. But anyway, Washington, they destroyed the Giants in the second half. They really put a beating on him. And you know what? They had the whole game in their hands. And Rivera goes for 2 with nothing on the clock anymore to win the game instead of just tie it and go overtime when you were dominating them.
But how could you say that, though? Hold on. How could you say that and then say that the Jets are better than Washington?
I just think that Washington don't want to win.
I'm going to agree with Carl on this one. They're not better than the Jets. They're not better than the Jets, but I'm agreeing with Carl on that last statement.
The Jets don't want to be there.
I'm agreeing with you on the last statement.
Go ahead.
They don't want to win, but I'm agreeing with Mike that they're not better than the Jets. I think the difference is I think Carolina really – I'm going to make a joke saying he kind of did an old Carolina movie where he was trying to be Riverboat Ron. He decided to bring the riverboat back up with him to Washington, and the riverboat took a couple weeks to get there. A couple weeks later than it should, but it got there on time, hopefully, for him. So now
It's
I
so
think
funny.
his plan
This
is.
is the second week in a row that, like, within 5 minutes of each other, we saw 2-point conversions tried in the weirdest way. And you had Romeo Crennel scores a touchdown, goes up by 7 with minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he goes for 2.
Yeah.
Instead of going for one and going.
That's why I just did that. It's bad. It's
Misses it. They Titans come back, tie the game easily with 7. Now, would they have tied it anyway? Maybe, but you would have made it a little tougher. And yes, if you would have gotten that 2-point conversion, the game's over. The game's totally over. I get it, but I also agree. Crennel could roll the dice like that because he doesn't care. He's not going to be the head coach anyway next year.
Well,
but
you
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird
you
how
said
they're
that just
two-point
before.
conversion. What's
Romeo
that?
Crennel, I think he was doing that to say, "Look at me! I'm gonna go be a head coach. Look what I'm doing."
No, I think he's just having fun. He's like 75, ain't he?
Yeah, he's had his chance as a head coach.
He's having
Not
fun.
just-
No, this is Romeo Crennel saying, "I'm gonna enjoy my last chance at the fun." That's the having
Well,
fun.
I don't understand that
gonna take
franchise. That franchise is down to shit. I mean, you had the coach control it with the GM and all this other. They have no draft picks. They're the worst team right now over in AFC.
Yeah, because their coach traded away everything.
Yeah,
The Houston
and
Texans.
you got nothing. You got nothing, and you got a big contract on the quarterback with nothing around them.
The Houston Texans are no better than they were with Kubiak. You realize with the Texans, they were a joke of a franchise when O'Brien came there. Well, if I'm correct, they never made the playoffs before O'Brien got there. Am I right?
No, Kubiak made the playoffs.
Once. He made it once.
Lost first round 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
He couldn't
No,
get out
3
of the
years in a
first
row.
round.
3 years in a
Oh,
row.
I'm wrong with that. Well, Kubiak basically, I think they're no better than when Kubiak got there. Where O'Brien and Kubiak, I think the Texans have a lot of dysfunction to begin with, and I've heard this from some people that the Texans have always been dysfunctional. It's just now you're finally seeing it because they've had a lot of issues. I've heard.
It's the ownership.
Listen,
It's nothing to do.
Texans are one of those weird teams. The Titans are like this too, where a lot of times they'll sneak into the playoffs at 9-7 and make a little noise, but they haven't been a dominant team. Last year, remember, they were up 24-0 against the Chiefs and they blew it. Like,
Yeah.
they're just a weird team. They have a lot of talent. They just haven't put it together. I still think that's a good job to go to. I know they don't have a first-round pick this year, but they
No
still want-
J.J. Watt. The difference is if you have no J.J. Watt next year, to me, that offense looks appealing. That defense looks like a freaking, like, I'm going to call this a AutoZone when he got, like, the whole front end of the car, the whole back end of the car damaged. The front end looks nice. The back end is like in a 5-alarm dumpster fire crash. It's going to be so much work done on that thing to get it street ready.
My hearing went out. Repeat that whole thing again.
Basically,
Well, no,
like I said, they got into a bad rear-end collision.
I heard AutoZone
Fire
and
looks
I
nice.
heard that. I don't know. All of a sudden, we became an auto body shop.
Well, anyway,
The
real
front end
quick,
looks nice. The back end is a mess, and it's going to take a lot of work to
You
get the
said-
car ready to go.
you said without J.J. Watt and everything with Houston. You know,
I think that
J.J. Watt
defense.
only played 9 games in 3 years.
I know, but it's the intimidation. It's the idea he makes that defense
He's
look a
no
little bit better on
intimidation.
paper.
He's old, he's done.
I agree.
Hold on. How are you intimidating if you're not playing?
But on paper, he makes that defense look better. It's like having Brady right now.
How many sacks he has in the last 2 years?
No, it's not like having Brady right now.
No,
Brady's
he's
playing.
To me, it is.
garbage.
Because to me, the only difference between Brady and Winston is he's not throwing the deep picks.
Wait,
He's-
how did you get to Winston?
I'm just explaining the whole thing about why I'm saying with Brady.
Brady's
With Watt,
still playing.
it's the idea
and
that he can still play, maybe.
Watt
but
can't even
limited.
get through a line. He's
Yeah.
not, you don't compare injured
If
Watt.
Watt is not in the game playing,
Yeah.
then he's not in the game playing. It's not
Oh,
like
yeah.
being in the game and playing bad. It's like where you're a decoy. It means the other team showed up to the field that day and looked at the paper, and J.J. Watt wasn't on it.
I
there's
know
no
what I'm saying. But I'm just saying if you have them, the team their defense is like I said, the front end of the car looks nice, the offense looks good, the back end of the car, the defense needs like a whole new repair. And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's going to take a lot of work to get the car street legal.
And the only way to do that is to get draft picks, and they need to
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Watt's going to be on his way out.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if you don't deal him before he gets to free agency type idea.
Yeah, you got to deal him right. You got
That's
to
what
deal
I mean
him.
by that. No JJ Watt.
It's a
Yeah, I
rebuilding
think
stage there.
he does.
It's a
I
rebuilding
agree
for
with
him.
that.
Yeah. New coach is going to want his, the players. It's a rebuilding for Texas. I think we can all agree that the quarterback's going to be there, and then everybody else is going to be a rebuilding deal.
I think you're going to keep some of those pieces. I think maybe you keep one or two of those guys on offense.
So that's going to be obviously that's one of the coaching jobs that's already available. The Jets are going to be available. Atlanta's going to be available. So there's going to be a bunch of and Atlanta and Texas are definitely more appealing right now than the Jets. So the Jets are going to have a tough time getting their first choice. Lawrence, I agree.
Exactly.
But still,
because I think Atlanta won't be in 2 weeks.
Oh, hold on. If you have the choice right now between going to the Jets or Houston, where do you go? You have your quarterback that you know in Houston. You have your
quarterback.
Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to Houston. But Atlanta, if they don't tell me Matt Ryan's my quarterback in 3 weeks.
Where?
If you're in Atlanta versus the Jets in this case, tell me Matt Ryan's my quarterback.
All right, you want to go there? Let's talk about Atlanta. Do you trade Matt Ryan?
Yes.
Carl?
Absolutely.
I'll give you a price. Here's my price. Give me a second this year, a fifth next year, and a conditional seventh. That he plays every year for me. And if he plays 2 years for you, if he plays the end of the rest of this year for you, and next year I get a 7th round pick from you.
I think my headphones are messing up again because that made a lot of sense.
They
that actually, that might be one of the most sensible things she said. I can't believe it. That's a perfect trade. That's
how I do business. That's how I do trades usually. And Matt Ryan mid-season.
I was expecting 3 number ones. I was
going to say 3 ones. This isn't like, okay, Sam Darnold, maybe I go number 1 to start. Maybe a 1 and a conditional 5 to start because you know what? He might have some upside in him.
I don't think you're not getting a 1 for Darnold. You probably get a 3.
That's my starting asking price. That's my start.
Here's the thing, too. I say I want Lawrence. I say I want them to tank. I'm not at all convinced. Just like I said about Tannehill before, Robbie Anderson before, I'm not convinced that Darnold is not a good quarterback in this league and that Gates is just bringing him down. Because he's shown flashes that he could play in this league. Did last year, did the year before. The year before, when he was at Bowles, he wasn't great. He came in at the end, but he wasn't bad. He looked like he could throw the ball. He looked like he could play. He's lost right now because they don't have a plan. They have no offense. They have no offensive plan. And I bet you half of these guys, once they go to another team, are going to be really, really good. And Darnold is probably going to be one of them. Now, the only way I would get rid of Darnold is if I get Lawrence. If not, I keep Darnold. I don't get any other quarterback, even if it's Fields. I keep Darnold, and I draft the best player available.
That's why I said the starting asking price, if I get Lawrence, is going to be a 1 in the conditional 5 because I know the upside. You got to make
other teams aren't going to give you that if they know you have to trade him because you're getting Lawrence.
Right.
Who knows? If you play this, you're going to have Joe Douglas. You have to play this right, and this is how he's going to have to play. He's going to say, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that I'm going to take Lawrence. Wink, wink. And he tries to play.
And I'm another GM, and I'm like,
and you know what I say? I like the kid out of Oregon. I like the lineman out of Oregon.
That's something that the Jets actually franchise would do. But
take him, and I'll draft Lawrence.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what I say? I say to them.
With the thing with the go ahead.
Here's how I think you get it. I think you will get a first for Darnold. Here's why. There's one reason. And I was talking to somebody the other day about this. Actually, when I was out on my buddy called me. One of my buddies called me. He's good friends with a scout of an NFL team, and they're falling right now. There's only right after how that kid from North Dakota State played. They are not convinced he can throw at an NFL level. They were not impressed with him.
Okay.
The other night when he played
All
against
right,
Cincinnati.
none of that has to. Let me back up. Back up 1 second. What did Arizona get for Josh Rosen, who was the number 1 pick right behind Darnold, basically? A third, right?
A third.
A third. He
You think
cracked
it's
out, and it was less of a sample size than Darnold. Darnold has looked just as bad right now. Just as bad. And Arizona could have done the same thing. They'll wink, wink. Maybe we're not taking Kyler Murray. No one's giving you a number 1. Not as the way he played. If Darnold was really good, and then you said, you know what, we want to replace him anyway, then yeah, but Darnold has looked like garbage this year.
Yeah.
Would you take a 2? Would you give a 2 for him?
I would give it 3.
All right. You know
I
what?
would,
If I'm Indy, that would be a great move for Indy to make, in my opinion. You trade Brissett.
yeah. Indy's a team that could. There's a bunch of teams that could take.
I think
There's a
Indy,
bunch.
for one reason, I think they're going to deal Brissett at the deadline. I think either
How about
Dallas,
Minnesota?
Well,
How about
that's what I
Minnesota?
was going to bring up. That's what I was going to bring up. Everybody's talking about everything else. Minnesota's right
I
there.
got another plan for them.
Quarterback, everything.
I got another plan for them. I think they're going to take the kid out of North Dakota.
All right, we're getting off topic. We're getting way
That's
off
why I'm
topic.
saying it. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But I
Let's
think
not get
they'll
off topic.
get
Let's
another
not
kid.
get off topic.
Back
Let's
with
stay on
Ryan.
topic.
Back with
But-
Ryan, what we're talking about with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Do you trade? With the salary cap and everything that they're dealing with over there in Atlanta, and a team and new coach, absolutely. You trade him. You get rid of him. You and Julio Jones because
Yeah, because then you could kind of tank. You trade. I would trade Gurley. I would trade Gurley. I would trade Ryan. I would trade anyone that you could trade. You tank a little. You get a high draft pick. You get a quarterback.
and you got your franchise wide receiver. You got
Can I
him,
play devil's advocate here?
and he's
Yeah,
good.
Ridley?
Calvin Ripley.
Can I play devil's advocate here for 1 minute?
Yeah, but
The only reason why I wouldn't do this now, but I think they should. I can hear the only reason why, if you're Atlanta, you don't is for one reason. You might be able to sell. A coach may be thinking to himself, if these guys are here, if you keep Jones, you keep Ryan, you keep Gurley, maybe we could sign. Maybe we move Gurley in the offseason, we clear up some money. We keep Ryan for another year. We might have a shot at turning around in that division, because who says New Orleans next year is going to have Breeze? Who says Tampa Brady's going to be is not going to age in a year like any worse? Going to get any better?
Right.
That's a team that if you got the right coach, I think they could. The division is going to have so much of a interesting situation if Breeze leaves New Orleans that you might want to roll the dice on a year with this.
I can see. I
Problem
agree.
is, like Carlson, you know how you have a salary cap. You
Yeah.
have a lot of these guys that are making a lot of money. Gurley, I would get rid of right now. Gurley's garbage anyway. I would get rid of him right now. And I'll tell you where you should go, and I'm going to go there next, is Philadelphia, because they have nobody. Now,
They didn't get Bell. Like, why didn't you get Le'Veon Bell? You could have gotten them for nothing, basically.
What were they going to kidnap him?
Like, they could have gotten them for the minimum.
What do you mean? He went to KC.
He decided
How much
where
did
he
they
was
pay him?
going. He
It
decided.
doesn't matter. He decided to go to KC.
But if you were Philly, you could have, because Philly said they weren't interested in him. They put out a
He wouldn't
statement.
go to Philly.
He went to Kansas City. It's not like he cleared waivers. He's sitting home. Like, what were they going to do?
But
He went
Philly
to-
didn't even offer him.
You think it would have mattered? You think Bell's like,
You know what?
he calls up, he's like, I'm waiting for Philly.
I
Yeah,
think,
Philly
you know what? I think Philly would have been
Pat, I
considered
love
a higher
you, but-
position than the Dolphins. I think it would have been
What?
between KC and Philly. I think KC and Philly would have been the two finalists.
Going on a tangent. It didn't happen. He obviously wasn't going to go to KC, to Philly. Philly needs a back, though. Philly needs a
No.
back.
They need a lot.
They need a lot of help.
They
I
need
thought it was
everything.
Philly.
But hold on. Are they in first place right now?
No,
No.
Dallas is.
Dallas is.
Somehow.
They're a half a game out of first place. Like, you put a couple of pieces there, and you're in it. You're in it right now. There's so many teams that we didn't think would be in it that could be buyers right now. Look at Miami. Miami is 3-3.
Look who they beat.
They're 3-3.
The hobbling Niners, the Jets.
What?
The hobbling 49ers,
Right.
Jets,
Yeah.
Who's the other team? I forget.
Jacksonville.
another world beater.
Okay, so when you have enough wins to get into the playoffs, do they say, "Hey, you can't
Look
come
who
in"?
they play the rest of the year.
You didn't beat
That's
enough.
Look who they get the rest of the year. They get the Rams after with Tua. I want when's the deadline? 2 weeks?
Yeah. No,
I
next
would
week.
wait after
Next
that Rams
Saturday.
game.
Next Saturday.
Next week.
I would wait. I would wish it would be a week later because I would love to see how that Rams game goes before I make that move because I think that Rams game decides their season.
Let me ask you something. Would you have made the switch right now with Fitzpatrick?
No.
Tua for Fitzpatrick.
Absolutely not.
Not yet. I would have. You know what I would have done? I would have played Tua the second half of the Jet game. Once you beat the Jets badly, you put up a good number on them. You play Tua the second half, and you just let's see what happens. It's the Jets. I think the next Jet game, you rest Fitzpatrick. My plan would have been you give Tua some snaps, but you don't give him the majority. Let him have when the game is over. Let him have, let's say, the moment you think it's safe. You let him learn the system, practice, dry run for next year. You don't
It's
start
not even
him.
about that. It's not even about that.
I think
You're
Fitzpatrick.
winning.
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with you, but you're going too far. I agree with you. I don't understand why they didn't put. If they were planning on making this move, I don't understand why they didn't put him in for the second half up 24-0. I agree with you there, but I don't know what you're talking about. Learning the system. He's been there for months.
I meant by learning the system was by executing.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just don't. When I say I don't understand it, I mean I completely disagree with it.
Real quick.
Just making sure.
That's what I mean. Maybe I'm
clarify.
I completely disagree with it because it doesn't make any sense to me because he's been there for 2 months and he's there every day. He knows the system. He's just got to be in the game. You know,
Right.
Exactly.
he wasn't,
Here, let me
that's a good freeze.
go back.
That is a
Let me
good
go
freeze.
back to
Right
this.
there.
Let me go
Go
back to what we're JP you mentioned before. I'll start. What you said, with the Dolphins, look who they beat. Okay, and then you say I would like to see what the Rams did. Well, the Rams can't beat anybody but the NFC East. They haven't beat anybody but the NFC East. That's the worst division in football.
Hold on a minute here.
You're telling me that the Miami's not that good because they beat the 49ers. Meanwhile, the Rams just got beat by the 49ers.
The hobbling 49ers, that Garoppolo players look like the one-legged man. Like, help the guy.
The 49ers are still hobbling, and they just beat the Rams.
And the Rams beat Philly, Washington, and the Giants. That's who the Rams beat.
Can I read off the schedule for you guys? This is the next 4 weeks. This is now on the 29th. This is between them and playing the Jets on the 29th. Here's who you play.
Right.
Rams at Miami. Then you go to Arizona. Then you host LA.
Who are we talking about right now? Philly?
Miami. This is Miami's schedule. Between them and playing the Jets on November 29th in New York. They're going to play LA at home. They're going to play at Arizona.
Right.
They're going to play the Chargers at home. Then they're heading to Denver. Then they play the Jets.
That's all winnable.
I agree. That's why I really think with Tua, the question is, because who knows?
That means they should have made the change then.
Maybe here's the thing. The only way I'm thinking here.
I disagree.
The only thing I'm thinking here is maybe after what they saw with Herbert, they're thinking give the kid a shot.
And Burrow.
I think they're thinking, Tua might have been that people thought Tua is better than all of them going in. But without the hip injury, he might have been better than all of them.
Yeah, I think that they thought the entire time that they were going to take Tua and put him in at the break, at the bye, which is what this is. See, this is the perfect time to do it. Now you give them 2 weeks to prepare for the next game, and they're in a spot where 3-3. They have a decent shot. I don't like
a very good shot.
The way they did it. They didn't even tell Fitzpatrick they were doing it. He heard on Twitter that they were doing it. But somebody leaked it.
He's upset about it. And he's upset.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would be too.
Because here's what I say about it.
Can I give you who they play after?
1 second. Let me just say something about this whole thing. 1 second. Let me say what I see about it is you're in the NFL and you're there to win. Fitz, they lose, but Fitz was doing good and he was winning. Why are you going to replace him? Why are you going to replace him now after he's only 1 game out of the division lead?
Because he hasn't looked good. Because he hasn't looked good. He didn't look good last week. He didn't look good last week against the Jets. Anybody could have beat the Jets. he threw some bad balls and bad interceptions against the Jets. You know, he's been winning, but they might think that anybody could win. You know, let's not forget, a couple of years ago, there were a lot of people that questioned KC, thought they were nuts after Alex Smith had a great season with KC and they got rid of him and they put Mahomes in. You know, they might be seeing something in practice that says Tua is ready. And Fitzpatrick's not lighting it up. They're still winning. You know, we might be turning around in 3-4 weeks and saying this is just like Herbert. But he was ready. We just didn't know it. Granted, it took, you know, a doctor stabbing Tyrod Taylor in the chest for Herbert to get in. It's not exactly the same thing, but it could be a situation when we're looking at it like that. Go ahead, JP.
I'm going to say this. Between them playing the Chiefs, which is 2 weeks after the Jets, the only other team they play after the Jets is the Bengals. They could reasonably be 8-5 going into December 20th, hosting the Patriots, and your last 2 games at Vegas, at Buffalo.
It's funny because 2 minutes ago you said they weren't good because of who they beat. Now you got them running the same.
I'm just looking at their schedule, and it's a very winnable schedule going into the end of the season. I'm not saying they're amazing. I'm not saying anybody is amazing. I don't think Buffalo is really that. I think Josh Allen's carrying them right now.
Listen, I think you're right. I don't think – and I was going crazy at the beginning of the season because Allen was doing well. Showing a little bit of warts now.
That's why I'm saying
they're playing good teams. They're playing good teams.
May not be amazing, but they might have a decent enough schedule where they could reasonably just ride it out. If they could beat New England, they could be a 10-win team. They could ride it out to 10 wins somehow.
What do we think about New England?
I think New England is what we thought New England was going to be. New England, you know, they lost quite a few defensive players. They have this COVID season going on with Cam. And, you know, it's not 100%. Cam's good enough to be a quarterback to try to run the system, but they're not 100%. I think they're a 500 team, and we all expect that from them. We didn't expect anything from there. I mean, we got a long season ahead of us. They still got many games, but I don't think New England's a 11-win team right now. I mean, and they got plans to go ahead, but they're a 500 team. They're beatable, as we could tell. All you need is field goals, but they also could win a game too when it comes down to it.
You know who the only 500 teams are left on their schedule for New England right now? It's 500 or better. Niners.
Sure.
Niners, Bills twice, the Cardinals, the Ravens, and the Rams, and the Dolphins. That's it.
And Miami.
Yeah. They got
7 games.
So that's like their whole schedule.
Yeah.
7 games left. The only teams that aren't are the Chargers, the Jets, the Texans, and the Jets. They played the Jets twice. So they don't have a lot. I don't think they got a lot of wins in the bag. I think maybe this is turning into a 7-9, 8-8 season in New England, which in my opinion would be impressive for them to put together with. For right now, I think that's impressive. If Belichick could get 8 wins with this team, would be totally impressive to me. Just my expectations have dropped to the point where I think 10 wins is going to win the AFC East.
10 wins, yeah. I think so.
Yeah,
I think the Dolphins could win the AFC East, as crazy as it sounds.
Pick time.
Uh-oh.
Now we didn't have a show last week because I was dead. Carl's dead this week, but he made it on the air. The last week we picked 2 weeks ago, the AP 2-1, Carl 2-0. This Denver game got canceled, and me 1-2. Going into this week now. Carl, I guess they put you in the lead right now. So you go first.
Winning percentage or overall wins here?
What?
He's got a better winning percentage. So what happens in that Denver game? You're locked into that Denver game, right?
They already played.
They already played.
Denver covered.
No, hold on. If they don't play that week, it doesn't count.
I was going to say.
I just wanted to prove a point. I just wanted to prove a point.
No, I just want to have the counted so he's 3-0. Like, let him be 3-0 in my eyes.
Yep. But I'll start this week. I'll start this week off. When I start off, I like to go right to the Thursday night game. And lucky that they have that game because I think many other people are going to be watching something else. But
yes, I'm going to be watching the Giants game with a beer.
I think Philadelphia.
You old enough to drink?
I'll make it a joke. It's going to be a root beer or a birch beer.
Go ahead.
So I think Philadelphia over the Giants tomorrow night.
-4.5.
They're gonna with backups or XFL players, whatever they have, they're gonna put it to the Giants, and they're gonna get that win.
Ooh.
All right, JP.
Can I go opposite of that?
Yeah.
I'm going Giants. I never thought I'd say this, but I think the Giants are going to do good or just got a good enough chance because I think Philly is like the one-legged man in the butt-kicking contest. And the problem is this one-legged man has had 3 beers and can't stand properly.
Is it birch beer or real beer?
Real beers.
Okay.
Not O'Doul's. But that's the problem. They're like right now Philly's just hobbling their way through the season. I think the Giants are gonna ding them up, but it's not gonna be like amazing. I think the Giants barely get by, but they win.
All right. For me, last week was a surprise week for the Packers. They got their asses kicked. It was bound to happen. They thought that, they were playing over their heads, but they're still a good team. Their defense is decent. Their offense, they got Adams back. They just got steamrolled by that Tampa Bay defense. Once that pick six went, it was over. Lost steam, and it just, Ronald Jones ran all over him. Brady wasn't, great. Didn't put up great numbers, but they put up a lot of points. That's not going to happen this week. They're going against Houston. I know Houston came back against the Texans. They're still not a good team. You got Green Bay -3.5 going down to Houston. I got Green Bay winning by 7. Green Bay covering 3.5.
That's going to be a tough game. I like both those teams. It's going to be tough. I'm going with an undefeated team this week that's going to lose. It's going to be a matchup. This is going to be the fight for the division.
I was going to go there too. Go ahead.
It's going to be a fight for the division, and I really think that Arizona is going to beat Seattle. I'm going to stick with Arizona. I think they're just going to start pounding the ball away and playing real heavy ball there and offense like they did against Dallas. Not saying they did anything great because Dallas defense is no good, but I'll pick Arizona over Seattle.
Arizona +3.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, JP.
Give me the Jaguars beating the Chargers.
Whoa. What?
My gut's just telling me Minshew's going to play. Herbert's going to have an amazing game. I think Jacksonville's going to shock people this week. I think they're
Jacksonville +8.
I like the +8 here because I think the Jaguars are going to shock people this week. This is the game. This is one of those 4 games this year I circled that they could win. At the beginning of the year, I circled when I do my picks, I circle 4 games. I still am confident they're going to win this one because the Chargers. I think Herbert's going to have a great day, but it's not going to be good enough for them to win. I think their defense gets a little shocked by Minshew. I think Minshew
has looked awful this year.
I think he's going to show people up. I think he's going to show people that he's going to get a little shown up because he knows he's playing for his job right now. Because who knows, Matt Ryan could be next. So I really think Minshew's playing for his job because he knows that either Brissett, Ryan, or another guy could be on his way there. Could be Ryan Fitzpatrick for all we know.
Impossible. They're looking for a draft pick. They ain't ready.
I think they're going to have. I think Minshew's going to force it.
No, they're looking. They're still thinking Lawrence. They're still thinking Lawrence.
I think they're going to. I think Minshew's going to push it. They're going to get that second win.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt that. I
hope so.
I never believed that.
Yeah.
I don't believe in any players laying down so that they could tank. It doesn't make sense to me. Whenever anybody says that, it doesn't make. No, you're making the argument the other way. But of course, they're going to all play their hearts out because they're on the field. Now, they might give up on the team. They might give up on the coach. They might give up on themselves. But the motivation is not to tank because then you're not there next year. My pick, 2 terrible teams, awful teams. And this one team, you've heard all week, the coach is in trouble. The players hate the whole coaching staff. They still have enough talent on that team. I got to think the Cowboys could beat Washington outright.
Yeah.
Washington's a terrible team. Cowboys have enough. They have to, they showed it 2 weeks ago by playing a terrible Giants team. Yeah, it was close, but they still came back and won. Dallas is going to beat, it's a pick'em game. Dallas is going to beat Washington.
All right. Here's another team I've been supporting, and I like, and I think I'm going to ride them to the top 2. And I support their quarterback. And I really, really like that defense, and I like Foles for Chicago Bears. And
they're a surprise team.
I really think your Rams that you think they're so good is going to get killed against the Chicago Bears. And I'm not even sure if they're favored or what, but it don't matter. It's just going to be.
Bears are you ready for this? You ready? Bears are +6.
I'll take the Bears to win outright.
Bears.
I'll take the Bears to win outright.
Can I second that one?
What's that?
I second that pick?
Nope.
Man, you took the one I wanted.
You could have taken it with your last pick.
Because I have only two picks.
I mean, instead of Jacksonville, you could have
taken it.
Player of
the year going to roll to the playoffs.
I mean, I like Jacksonville. I really do like Jacksonville. So you know what? I'm going to take a second here to think.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to think here. As I do the thinker pose. One team that's getting a ton of no respect.
No respect.
Like, they're getting no
Where's
respect. They're like Rodney Dangerfield out there. They're getting no respect.
What, your Raiders?
No. Detroit. Everyone's saying Patricia's going to get fired. They're beating Atlanta this week. Bad.
Okay. Detroit +2.5.
I like my dogs this week.
Okay. I'm going to make a tough pick here. You got 2 5-0 teams playing against each other.
Why are you touching this one?
2 5-0 teams playing.
And I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't really know the schedule.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are going down to Nashville to play Tennessee Titans.
To lose.
That Steelers defense has been nasty. Beat up on the Browns last week. Destroyed the Browns last week. And Tennessee, they went up on Houston, but led Houston right back in the game. But Tennessee's just too strong. They're too strong. I don't care what defense they're playing. They're too strong. They could beat – Tannehill is playing like an MVP, and Henry last week on that 94-yard run ran over 4 people and then outran everybody down the field. He's insane.
I agree with you.
-1, Tennessee -1. I'm taking the Titans.
I think it's 90s. I'm not even sure where we're going, but once I mention him, you'll know where it is. But back in the 90s or something, you got this guy that they call the bus that Pittsburgh used to run over people and run. Well, now they have to go against the bus. That Henry is
honestly
an animal.
As good as Bettis was, he wasn't like that. He wasn't as fast.
It's nuts. I haven't seen a running back that big do what he does.
He's insane. Insane.
You know what they say? They're going around. The wheels of the bus go round and around. I think Henry. I think it's a better question of if you even put like those things down to stop the cars on Henry. Like you got to put like maybe 12 men on the field to stop the guy. Like it's impossible.
He ran over everybody and outran everybody. He's insane. He has more 200-yard games. He's had 200-yard games each of the past 3 seasons. It's insane. All right, That's it for the picks. That's it for the show. Now it's time, and you are limited to 15 minutes.
Oh, yes.
JP's World. JP from Hypothetical Sports. You get to pick any topic you want. You get 15 minutes starting now. Go.
We're going to talk two topics right now. We're going to split very quickly Penn State basketball and Wichita State right now. Penn State basketball, their coach just got resigned. He would have been fired from what I understood due to allegations of stuff that happened in the program. Wichita State, I don't know if anybody saw this, but Wichita State the other day had dealt with a huge skating. Athletic put it out at like 11 at night. This is one of those 11 at night nightmares. I call them when you get like this raving story that come out at 11 at night where it's something you wake up to in the morning. So my question is, how many coaches do you think will be able to interview for this job in the COVID era? Because the Penn State job is a very good job. Like you talk to basketball people, they will tell you. Like I know people that have said to me, that's a sleeping giant. It's always been a sleeping giant. That if you got the right coach in there that knew how to build the program in the Big Ten, who was willing to stay there for the 10 years you might need to take it, because the administration is very supportive. Yeah, it's one of those programs where if you build the culture right, you can make a very good program. I mean, look, Illinois just pulled off what they're doing. It's paid off for Illinois.
Illinois has always been a better program than Penn State.
Illinois went down for a few years. They went down. A lot of people were saying, "Is Illinois basketball?"
Penn State's been down for 50 years.
Penn State, but it's always been a sleeping giant of a program where people said,
"Yeah, it's been dead."
So I'm going to answer your question. They got 16 days to pick a coach.
Yeah, exactly. The answer is nobody's going to go there right now because they all have their own programs they got to worry about. Nobody's going to leave right now for Penn State. Now, if, Duke opened, not even Duke. Let's not say Duke. Let's say Ohio State, which is a decent basketball program. Ohio State, something like that. Louisville, something like that opened up. You might get guys that might leave their program. Nobody's leaving their program from Penn State.
All right.
What's that? And this is something that I've heard. There's been rumblings on him trying to get back into college basketball.
Who?
Former Nets Johnson.
You're breaking up so bad.
Former Nets coach Avery Johnson.
I love how you got closer. That made the Wi-Fi better, but I did hear you. Avery Johnson, no. I'll give you a name that I can't believe you didn't bring up. Him just dropping Iona like a bad habit. How about Rick Pitino? How about Rick Pitino going over to Penn State, jumping in the Big Ten?
I told you I have a buddy of mine on the staff over there. And he's told me he's not Patino's going. This is his last job. Pitino said he's not leaving for another job. He's decided that he wants to live in New York. He doesn't want to leave, doesn't want to move around again. He would be happy staying in New York for 5 years. That's what I
okay. That don't mean it's his last job. That means he's waiting until St. John's opens up. That's what that means.
Right.
Exactly. But that ain't going to happen. But now I want to move to the main thing for today. I call JP's Wheel of Fortune, where, the trade deadline coming up. I'm going to play some hypothetical trades here to you for 5 players. 5 players, very lucky players, are going to have an opportunity to have their fortunes decided here. Okay. So, first one, Matt Ryan. Do this trade or don't do this trade here? It's the answer. Matt Ryan to Dallas, 5th round pick, second with a 5 and a conditional 7, as I mentioned earlier. Or you could have Matt Ryan to Jacksonville for a 5th round pick. Dallas. Which will happen?
Dallas.
Neither one.
If I'm Dallas, I do it.
Why? For what? All that big money? You're going to take that big money on for the next 2 years?
No, he's done, isn't he? Isn't this his last year?
No.
Oh, no. I don't take him.
You got 2 years left on a big contract.
Absolutely not. Because here's what you got to do. If you're Dallas, you're going to sign Dak in the offseason.
Yeah.
They're going to sign Dak for big money. Dak's supposedly going to be ready next year. Maybe not the beginning of the season, but at some point, which means he's going to have to sign before the season. They're going to sign Dak. There's no way they're going to do it. Jacksonville, absolutely not, because they're going to go. They're looking for a franchise quarterback. They're not looking for a 38, 39-year-old quarterback. No way.
Jacksonville, no way. They're already throwing up their wide receivers up on a trading block already. They're getting rid of everything for draft picks. They know who the next coach is. This coach will be gone. The next coach is going to be Gruden. That's sitting there as an offensive coach. They're not going to bring Matt Ryan over and hand it over. Say, here's a 34-year-old guy with 2 years left. They're going to rebuild around Gruden, and they're going to make that draft this year pretty interesting with all those picks that they're going to be getting.
All right. Number 2 on Wheel of Fortune. Step right up, next contestant, Julio Jones.
Gone.
2.
Let him say the trade first.
Here we go. Baltimore, second-round pick. There's a second-round pick here. He's going to be up for bid. Second-round pick for Julio Jones to either Baltimore or Philly.
Yeah, I do with Baltimore. Philly, maybe. I got news for you. What about?
I'm about to buy a third option. I bet you want to buy a third option?
Here's
your
what about
third
the
option.
Pats? What about the Pats?
Patriots? I was about to say third option, New England.
They got nobody there to catch the ball. Nobody.
I think
For a second-round pick.
I agree, and I think he does get traded, and I agree to one of the teams out there with the 3 that you mentioned is very, very good, especially with Philly. You nailed Philly. I would say Philly needs someone like that because Wentz is, believe it or not, Wentz is carrying the team by himself, and he's getting.
He really is. He really is.
He needs a wide receiver and a running back, but
he needs an offensive line.
I could really see Julio Jones going to Tennessee.
So you bought your third option.
No.
Titans.
No, Tennessee. No, Tennessee it does not need any wide receivers. A.J. Brown is good. Humphreys catches everything they throw at him. No, they do not. Jonnu Smith's good there. They got Henry. They do not need a wide receiver there.
They don't need him, but I can see him happening.
No. They need a lot of things in Tennessee on defense and now offensive line because they just got their guard or tackle lost for the year. No, I would not trade Tennessee. No way.
I agree. I think we all agree that
A.J. Brown is definitely a player there. There's probably a team we're not thinking of right now.
Yeah.
But I got another player here because there's 3 more players.
Okay.
And I know one of them will take up a bit of time here.
You don't have a lot of time, so hurry up.
Michael Gallup.
Michael Gallup is a good player. He had a
third-round pick.
He had a good year last year. He's been lost this year because of CeeDee Lamb stepping up, but they drafted CeeDee Lamb for a reason. Who are you thinking?
All right, here we go. Michael Gallup, 2. Drum roll, please. Miami for a second-round pick, or here's the or.
Right.
This is a little bit of a wild card here. I think it's going to raise your eyebrows. Arizona, because he has 1 year of control. Arizona decides that they may have a run at this. If they beat Seattle, they decide to stack up on the offense and try to get Gallup for a third-round pick. Which one?
Arizona has 4 wide receivers right now that are good.
They may deal. Who says they don't? Who says they decide that they're not going to deal one and get Gallup for, let's say, one of the picks they give up? They get back.
They have 4 good wide receivers right now.
They got Hopkins and Kirk. That's the future.
Hopkins,
and
Kirk, Fitzgerald, and who's that other guy that they keep trying to throw deep to? Isabella. Yeah. Isabella. The Cardinals do not need a wide receiver. There are teams that need wide receivers. We already said them.
The Cardinals is for an odd reason.
The perfect fit for him because he is good and he showed it already. And he is a good wide receiver and he's young. The perfect fit is to throw him to Cincinnati and let Burrow get used to it.
You keep naming teams that don't need wide receivers, though. Cincinnati's got Boyd and they got Higgins.
The reason why
young guys.
The reason why I said Arizona, and I agree on Cincinnati for one reason. I think Cincinnati would take him because he has 1 year control. He does have 1 year control, and he may move John Ross if you're Cincinnati.
Well, Ross said already he wants out. He don't want to play.
Like
Who?
John Ross,
Cincinnati wide receiver.
You're going to move him.
John Ross is like the 5th wide receiver on that team.
But
Well, AJ Green is gone. He don't want to play. They're going to get rid of him, and he's gone
Right.
after this year.
So you
Traded.
have Boyd and you have D Higgins on that team already.
And Gallup would be a good number 1 for them.
Yeah.
I think Gallup would be a good number 1 in the future next year when you have the 3 guys. Because remember,
How
he
about
has 1 year control.
how about LA Chargers?
I have them wait. There's a wait on them. There's a reason why I'm telling you wait.
Every week, you have a quarterback that loves to throw the ball. How about going there? What?
Williams is awesome over there.
Williams is awesome.
I think he's a great wide receiver.
Has he had 100 yards yet?
What's that? He only played 6 games.
Okay, what's that mean? What's that mean? He's not awesome. Not awesome.
He could catch the ball and he could play. He's a great wide receiver. And
he's not better. Yeah, but he's not better. Not better than Gallup. He's not better than any of the guys you wanted to replace on Cincinnati. They're all better than him. Not better than any of the guys you wanted to replace on Arizona. They're all better than him.
I want to get through 2 guys because we only got like 4 more minutes. Jacoby Brissett, you're next on the Wheel of Fortune. He's 1 year control. He does not have a year of control after this year.
Wait, who'd you say? Jacoby Brissett? He's not going anywhere.
He's not a free agent at the end of the year, if I'm correct.
Not going anywhere. He's going to resign bottom deal. They love him. He loves them. He's like
why I'm going to mention it. If you're planning on trying to get Darnold or possibly another quarterback in the offseason, deal him to Dallas?
No. What they'll do is they'll get rid of Rivers. If they get another guy in the offseason, Rivers is gone, Brissett's the backup, and he's either gonna caddy for a young kid that they draft, or he's gonna be a backup for a veteran that they sign, just like he is now.
If the Colts had hope in that quarterback, they wouldn't have signed Rivers.
That's why I'm saying deal him to Dallas.
No, but hold on. But they don't want him. They want him like Fitzpatrick is right now for the Dolphins. They want him as a backup. They don't want him as a starting quarterback.
He got a big contract. He had a big contract.
Who?
Brissett. He signed a big contract there.
Brissett doesn't have a big contract. Brissett signed a backup contract for Luck and just stayed there. He doesn't have a big contract.
He signed it last year, I thought. 3 years.
No, then why would he sign Rivers? No, he doesn't have a big contract.
All right, one last player, and this is, we mentioned him earlier, J.J. Watt. Wheel of Fortune. Green Bay or Baltimore. And this price will be a 2nd and a 5th.
No, I don't. Either one. No.
Baltimore.
I give a 5th. I don't give a 2nd. J.J. Watt, we just said, has played, what, 9
I know,
games
but the asking price would be, I'm just saying, if the asking price is a 2nd and 5th, Green Bay.
No. I say no.
Yeah.
Oh.
No. You're not.
And what would you give?
For a guy that's
I give a 5th.
Played a season in his career? No, you don't do that.
Okay,
I give a 5 or a 6.
And just for a 5. And if
then
we change it to 5. The Wheel of Fortune, we change the asking price. Green Bay or Baltimore, what do you do? Who does it?
Well, here's the thing, too. I might give a 5, but if it's like a Le'Veon Bell situation. If I believe that no one else is going to give it, I wait till you release him and I sign him.
Right.
Watt's not getting released. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, then he'll be a free agent. Same thing. I give him a 5.
Green Bay, a 5. Green Bay's a better fit, but a surprise team would be Seattle. But yeah.
Green Bay's a better fit than Baltimore.
The way the Green Bay's a better fit than Baltimore.
I don't agree with that at all. You got Calais Campbell on one side, you've got Wolf on the other side, and then you put J.J. Watt in there?
Oh, no. As winning wise, yeah, absolutely. But to fit in that would do it is Green Bay would do it before Baltimore.
Oh, they need him more. Yeah.
And Seattle would too. Because Seattle offered what's his name? What's that defensive guy that they had, and then he left after the year?
Clowney?
Yeah. And they have the money to do it. Watt would actually be pretty good over there.
Seattle would be good too.
Yeah, to win a division.
All right, JP. Awesome job again.
We did it. We got through the whole segment.
15 minutes.
Good deal.
Oh,
Good deal.
Next week.
Dude, I did
next
not think I was going to be able to do the show tonight.
I gotta
Felt
prepare you
crap
next
all week. Carl, I can't believe you're doing it.
Hey, I didn't know it was Wednesday.
I got a segment next week. I want to announce it.
What?
I have a segment I'm going to announce for next week in advance. It's a little
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
It's going to be an honor. We're going to be doing some voting next week because everyone wants to vote. So we're going to be voting on the best and worst places to coach in the NFL next season. We're going to have a vote to decide who is the best and who is the worst opening next year at a probable.
All right, nice teaser. All right. If no one realized the World Series going on right now,
Yeah.
Carl called it a couple weeks ago. Tampa Bay could have 2, maybe 3 champions, possibly.
Just to
Pretty
get
impressive.
No, they're gonna get lucky to get 2. I think LA's sweeping.
I think they are.
I think LA's gonna take the sweep.
You know what, though? You can't count out Tampa. You can't. They're a bunch of no-name guys, I know, but they are good, that team.
I think
Not just
Dodgers-
that.
Here's what Tampa has going for it. They are totally used to playing to no fans. That's why they got this far.
No, they're fans of the game.
Yeah, there's 5,000 for them.
Yeah, 5,000.
I like their normal games.
Yeah.
There's 11,000 total. That's like a
You know
normal
what?
game. That's
I agree. Dodgers should win. You know, they should do it, and they maybe sweep them. But you know what? As a fan, if I was a fan, I'm happy that they made it. It's done. You know, you made. Yes, you want to win it, but you know what? That's a good surprise for Tampa.
You know what?
You know,
I'm going to
they
say
made it.
It's a real condemnation of the genius in Oakland is the fact that the Tampa Bay Rays have done it twice with little money, and you've been playing Moneyball for 20 years. You've been playing it in Oakland, Moneyball. Billy Bean.
Oh, Moneyball. Oh, let's not forget, Oakland made the playoffs too. Again.
But they haven't won but think about it. The Rays have made it more in the last 11 years. They made it twice to the World Series. Losing to the Phillies in 08, 12 years. They lost to the Phillies in 08. They made it again. They made it more times to the World Series than Oakland has in the last 30 years. They've done in the last 12 years. And Billy Bean's been playing Moneyball the last 20 years. I just say to people, one of the writer mentioned this, saying that maybe we should be looking at the Tampa Bay Rays way of doing things more than the Oakland A's way of doing things with Moneyball. Maybe you got to look at
Why do you say Oakland A's? There's 28 other teams that haven't hit the World Series in 10 years.
Because he's saying that they invented Moneyball, but if you look at, first of all, the 2008 team was not Moneyball. They had high-priced players on that team.
But you get what I'm saying. Like it's small.
No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. It's not Moneyball. You can't say they've been there twice using Moneyball in the past how many years when one of those teams was not like that. And Oakland has made it to the playoffs more times than the Rays have. So Oakland has done it a better way than the Rays have because the Rays were spending money at one point. But we got to end on that.
Let's go watch it.
Let's go watch it, and we'll see everyone next week. So long, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Catch us next Wednesday. We'll feel a little better. I'll have a little more energy, and hopefully JP and Carl have better signal.
I got great signal.
I don't know what that means. You were breaking up the whole time.
You were breaking up a little bit, too.
Maybe it's me.
We'll start.
All right, guys. So long.